For all of us, it's no longer a secret. Material right has hit the earth, and now we are dealing with the consequences, meaning that AI search has already reshaped the B2B marketing, and this is one of the fastest growing marketing channels since mobile. Just a few high-level stats, and for everybody who is joining right now, we will be talking about the predictions, where the AI search will go most likely in the next year. But before jumping into the future, let's take a quick look at the past. So this past year alone gave us quite a bit of interesting use cases for AI, and mainly for B2B. What we marketers care about is how does it affect our pipeline, visibility, top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel, what it means to us. For the behavioral change that AI has brought to our audiences, the Gen AI usage widely adopted. Vendor discovery, around 50% of B2B buyers at least touched AI agents and assistants and tools in their discovery and decision-making process. And another emerging trend that's probably will continue challenging us as marketers and us as B2B professionals is that zero-click, that trend that was started to emerge in Google maybe a couple of years ago, but now it's so prominent that around 60% of Google searches end without a click. And I'm not sure about you guys, but myself, I found myself clicking way less when I Google something. And you can give me a plus in the chat if your experience is similar. So when you're Googling something, most likely, I started to click less often. If that's your experience as well, you can give me yes. Thanks, Michelle. Thanks, Nina. Yeah, I see. Thanks, Jennifer. That's all those shifts. They are inevitable. They just happened, and we'll have to deal with some sort of the consequences. But here is what it means, to us, and why do we care? The biggest takeaway that I have from this year, and I'm talking a lot about it to our clients, and we have the AI search program. I'll talk about it in a moment or two. But we are losing visibility in things that we are not measuring yet, and this is crazy because that black box, part of a couple of those, right? The OpenAI, Perplexity, all the assistants that we use on a daily basis, we still don't know how they treat our brands fully. We still don't know how exactly they recommend us, how they cite, how they send us traffic, leads, and pipeline. We are figuring this out as we go, and the more we tap into that world, the more we know. But currently, the biggest challenge that we have, and the biggest challenge that the key stakeholders of the companies that I work with voice is that, all right, we have that new channel. Now, tell me how to measure it. Tell me how I grow in it. How do I know that it's working for me? We will be talking a little bit about those answers during today's session. If you're interested in learning more about the current measurement, please also ping me here or drop me a quick email. I do have some hints here. But for the sake of this session to be more forward-looking, let's get closer to the prediction part. So let me switch my heads and put on my Oracle one. So I have amazing content for you today. I'm really excited to share everything that I've learned about AI search over the course of the year. And I've built Protology. That's the tool that runs the LLMs audits of the brand's visibility. We have completed over 20 successful AI search program launches here at Rampiq, at the agency that I'm CEO and founder of. For those of you who have known me for some time, I think that's a little bit redundant, but for those who are new to me and to what I'm doing, my name is Liudmila. I'm CEO of Rampiq Agency. We work with B2B tech brands, and we help marketing teams of those brands get more revenue from the content and marketing effort. I've been into AI search since August last year, 2024, and we have designed and successfully executed the AI search visibility program for B2B brands. Some of you are my current clients who are on that program. Some of you have known me for some time through SEO lens, but now AI search. But through the course of my career, I've been also introduced to data science and text mining. So like that one on the wall, the diploma from the American University there in Washington, DC has also included some data science courses. So when the whole AI thing hit our pipelines, it's been very interesting for me to understand how the model works, and I trained the models myself. So everything that I'll be talking about today and how I built those predictions, it all comes from the Frontline. I've been working with AI tools, building AI tools, and executing AI search programs for the past 18 months. So plus some sort of a data science background. So this is where this all is coming from. And I would like this session to be more or less interactive. When you stay till the end, I have extended time for Q&A today. I don't have a hard stop at the top of the hour. So if you'd like to pick my brain on something, ask questions about your visibility, your brand, I'm more than happy to spend some extra time after this call answering those questions. That's that time of the year where we have the gifts and presents flying around. So I am opening my calendar in time for you guys. If you have any questions, if you want to pick my brain on something, all yours today. Now, the predictions. The most exciting one, changing the perspective how we see the internet right now. We've been living in the paradigm where we have humans and sometimes bots affecting how we see and how we interact with content. Now we have the third player, or an army of invisible players called agents. We have the three kind of like layers of the internet now. Humans, you and I, sitting in front of the screen. I am telling you these amazing facts, and you looking at the screen and listening to me. This is what's happening at the human facing content layer. Now, bots. We have those invisible agents that scan our website, read our website, and now in front of the Google's kind of like on piggybacking on the Google's way to discover the world, now we have to take care about the AI bots as well. Bots from ChatGPT, they have 3, 4. Bots from Perplexity, they have 3 at the very least. So now our content and we as a brand, we are now exposed to those kind of like bot traffic that we do not see, but that shapes our visibility in AI. And that's not new. That's not something that started to happen overnight. It's happening again, but I predict this to be very highly scalable. But the third thing is relatively recent, and those agent-facing content, agent-scraped content, that's going to be something that is very likely to be affecting the user behavior, the pipeline, and how we humans interact with internet entities. Why is that? Currently, ChatGPT is introducing the shopping options within the chat itself. Perplexity is coming after them next. The protocol that opened up, the MSP protocol that opened up LLMs interfaces to so many integrations is already there. And one of the best predictions that I can give, we will see the thing very common, very similar to what happened when Apple, back in the day, created and launched the App Store, where everybody with the development skills and products can actually tap into the Apple ecosystem. Go mobile. Go mobile. Now every business will have an opportunity to go agentic, meaning that your next buyer, most likely by the end of the next year, won't be a person. It will be an agent acting on your behalf. Give me a plus in the chat if you agree that this prediction stands. That it's going to be like a true. That we will have agents making decisions for us in 2025, 2026. Thanks, Anna. I have a strong believer here. Cool. Wow. Yeah, thanks, Claire. Thanks, Michelle. That's for us. And again, the hot take out of this prediction is that we need to be optimizing for agents right now. We have been optimizing for humans by UI and UX, We have been optimizing for bots by indexability, readability. But now we will have to be careful on how we optimize for agent. And Michelle, to your point, yes, if we are talking about the guardrails, we need to think about those as well. Prediction number 2, AI answers. Those AI overviews and everything AI generated will replace up to 70% of the retail space on the traditional search results pages. I'm not talking about just AI overviews appearing here and there, but in 60% of the searches. I'm talking about the whole kind of like Google screen becoming full of AI generated information. Why? Google business model wants us to stay on Google. They want us to see more ads. They want us to spend more time in the Google interface. A little bit controversial because what they wanted from us are just a few months ago were clicks. Click on the ads, click on the websites, and we will be just monetizing us through clicking on stuff. Now, the retail space that we have on Google is shrinking in terms of like organic content, but also it's shrinking in terms of the human-generated pieces of it. So as we are tapping into that AI answers space, Google is behind in this race, and they have way more opportunities to optimize, and they have way more opportunities to enhance their capabilities quickly. So the hot take from this prediction is for us marketers to build the assets and to build that type of content that AI assistants and AI bots can easily extract insights from. Why? Most likely, and that's going to be another prediction that we will be talking about today, most likely we will not be able to get as many clicks as we used to have from Google anymore. However, there is a good thing about it. With this transformation, and we feel it already, it's not even the prediction, it's reality. With the AI answers and AI overviews, there are ways to increase your visibility. And by building assets that AI assistants can read and easily take to work into their decision-making process is actually doable. I wanted to share this case study. This is not the prediction, that's the reality. That's the outcome of us working with Case IQ. That's the B2B SaaS platform in the highly competitive, highly oversaturated compliance space, where we consistently worked on earning more AI overviews. And when I mentioned that I have been around into the AI search space for some time, we started in August 2024. And you can see that since the AI overviews were released, and when we switched to GEO principles in our content work with them, and it was more than a year ago, we consistently grew the number of AI overviews and presence in that highly oversaturated top of the funnel AI-generated answer space. So for us as marketers, it's still a tool, it's still a machine, it is still an algorithm to optimize for. Yes, the means and the tools on our end and the approaches will be different, but the good news is that we still can be working towards higher visibility in this changing new space. Prediction number 3. This one scares me most, because all the work that we have been doing before was aimed at the brand's visibility in places that now do not matter for LLMs. Sorry, not sorry, they said. This is where the new technology nature comes into play. To rank well on Google, and Anton has been doing SEO for that's a secret for many years. For many years, for how many years exactly? I have been around the globe for like, I don't know, maybe almost 2 decades right now. You cannot crack Google's code, but you can. But there are some frameworks, and there were some frameworks that can help you get that visibility relatively quickly. Now, for your brand to be visible and to be recommended and cited in LLMs, we do not not know for sure where exactly they take the information. We are still in the discovery phase. So the prediction number 3, though, is that we will have LLMs as the vendor's shortlisting engines. More and more pipeline, more and more decisions will be driven from those invisible funnels for us. And looking at and studying the LLM citations mechanisms, I can see that the variety of sources that they take the information from is way bigger than Google's traditional sources of data. So we will be living in a world, and that's my prediction about the shortlisting. We will be living in a world where the assessment of our brand, the assessment of what we do, will be more dependent on the variety of sources, on breadth rather than depth. Going on the line, prediction number 4, buyer journey. Fragmentation. With the high level of probability, we will see the non-linear discovery loops, meaning that attribution in B2B has always been complex and complicated. Now we have the extra layer of complexity where we should be able, but currently are not able, to see the full buyer journey because it now hits the wall of measurement. Well, imagine your experience, and I don't imagine, remember your experience that you currently have with ChatGPT. If you're researching something, and oftentimes you won't even have a link to a product or a brand or something that's going to be mentioned somewhere in the recommendations, but actively you're not able to reach the content. What do? You copy the thing, you open your browser tab, and you either Google or go there. How do we attribute that in Google Analytics, HubSpot attribution, and any other traditional marketing source? Direct traffic. So now we have to be consistent, but we have to be consistent everywhere. One thing that LLMs bring to that hidden funnels is that if your brand story is not consistent across all the touch points that a user can potentially hit, that's going to be a room for hallucinations, a room for misinterpretation, and a room for missed recommendations of your brand in the right context. This prediction has slightly lower probability than the others because I think that ChatGPT and OpenAI will soon introduce the ads, will soon introduce more ways to send traffic to businesses, because with the Google's trend of sending less traffic to the brands, this empty space will need to be taken by someone. And most likely that's going to be the LLMs not keeping users within the platform, but rather sending them out to brands. However, that journey will have high probability of very complex and complicated measurement. So speaking of measurement, we do have some frameworks that we are implementing right now where we can see the bottom of the funnel metrics, the middle of the funnel metrics, and the indirect impact of LLMs to the pipeline. And in the very beginning of this presentation, I told you that we've been helping brands, we've been helping businesses with everything related to AI visibility, with everything related to getting their heads around what to do next in their SEO content programs, and everything in 2026 to be more visible in AI search. And if you feel like you need help or need to pick my brain or my team's brains on anything related to your questions around AI search and visibility, if you need immediate impact, please feel free to use the link. Thank you, Anna, for posting it in the chat. I do have a few slots open next week. I know this is almost like holiday time, and you can see that my calendar is completely blocked for the last 1.5 weeks in December. But if you need immediate help and impact, like emergency AI search clarity call, I'm there for you, and my team is there for you. So if everything that I'm saying brings the level of anxiety to a different level. I understand that it might sound like it, but if you want some reassurance, or if you want to run your thoughts about AI visibility for the next year on someone who has been implementing this program, for someone who has been on the front line for a long time, feel free to book that call with me. I'm more than willing to look into your situation and see how I can help. Getting back to predictions, that's my favorite. This is where I think we are already there, because the zero click is already at 60% of the searchers. And I measured it. I took my mobile and I tried to get to the first organic result and click on something, on anything on mobile. I failed. I've been failing to do that for very long 27 seconds. So Google will now be keeping us within their ecosystem for longer, but also we will have less traffic and less directly measured impact of organic rankings over time. It's already happening, and the September update this year showed us that Google is cutting off the measurement tools as well. For those of you who followed, this is the major change for how we understand the impact of Google and organic traffic and organic search to our brands and pipeline, because all of a sudden we lost the depths of the analytics tools, depths of analysis in the tools that were previously our like North Star. If we have that amount of keywords in Ahrefs or SEMrush or SEO ranking, it means that we are moving in the right direction. Now, Google is deliberately cutting off the visibility into how the organic traffic performs. And that's the sublime trend for the zero-click space that we are living, because one of the ways for Google to keep up in that AI-generated Gen AI space is to make sure that they get our attention for longer. Give me a plus in the chat if you believe that the zero-click will become the default search experience in 2026. Give me a plus if you believe it. Yes, thanks, Jennifer. Thanks, Claire. So I will be collecting, thanks, Michelle. I will be collecting those answers, because in 6 months from now, I'm pretty sure that presentation will be very interesting to look back into. Prediction number six. This is the scariest one. We will learn how to hack them. We will learn how to fool them. Why? Because LLMs are still, although being like a great tool, a lot of human brain power, best minds, tons of money, infrastructure, everything, all the investment combined, still the models are weak. They are getting confused easily. They still don't really count well, and sometimes they misread, and sometimes they are not really following the brand narratives. I'm not sure if it hit your news radar, but there was a recent experiment I think by someone from Ahrefs, where they invented the brand that doesn't exist, doesn't make any sense. They pretend like they did the basic brand awareness work by posting on Medium, posting on the brand domain, and very basic information. They made that content indexed by Google, and they ran a few prompts on multiple AI platforms saying like, hey, do you know anything about this brand? The answers were shockingly wild. LLMs treated it as a real thing. The bottom line, only ChatGPT was like, I don't think it exists. Not sure what you mean about, I see the mentions there, but they're not credible enough. So no, I don't think that's something valuable. The rest of the models that were tested, they wildly lied. So what it means to us, and this is probably one of the most practical prediction for everybody engaged in B2B marketing. We need to be super consistent, and we need to constantly prove ourselves as experts and be super relevant and super consistent, not just on our website, but around in our brand space. Off-page matters as well. What do I mean by that? We looked at one of the predictions where the source of information available. So the variety of sources of information and that LLMs can use while evaluating our brands is super wide. And if we are telling the compelling and consistent story about our brand on all the sources that they can reach, we have way better chances to be properly categorized, clustered, and properly cited and recommended in the context that matters to our brand. If that story is inconsistent, specifically when we deal with brands with older brands with large digital footprint, or brands that went through the rebranding or M&A process, or something that can still leave that inconsistency in the brand story, this is where the danger is coming from, misinterpretation. And this is how we would be able to either build that story to the very consistent level, or suffer from the inconsistencies and imperfections that LLMs still have. So the hot take from this particular prediction is we will need to invest into the consistent brand story and consistent expert content, and that's not going to be generated by AI. That's going to be us. And probably the last but not least, new brands. I am actively engaged in our conversations with potential clients and potential prospects who are willing to take us as vendors for AI search programs. So I'm on the front line in Rampiq and the agency in most of the sales calls. So I hear a lot of questions, and one pattern recently became very obvious. I started to get the conversations and I started to get the requests from the marketers who are dealing with the brand launches or recently launched brands. And the pattern of the questions that I am receiving is the same. All right, we are new, but how can we educate AI, and what do we do for AI to cite and recommend us? It will be very difficult, and that's my prediction. It will be very difficult for younger brands to step into the recommendations and citations in oversaturated niches. Why? Because of the nature of the LLMs, where they have the native memory-based knowledge, where younger brands simply do not exist in their training data. And B, because of the credibility and validity of sources. See the previous prediction, we can easily follow them. The validity of sources about the new brand and what they do and how they relate. So LLMs for now give more preference to the older brands with history, and rather than the new brands that have just appeared and have less credibility, with one exception though. It is very interesting how LLMs, due to their nature, build links between the brands and founders. So my prediction is that in 2026, we will see a lot of new brands recommended in LLMs because of the background and the personal brands of their founders and senior leadership. This is how the age doesn't matter, credibility does. And my biggest takeaway from this is when you're working with the newer brand, that's a must. When you're working with the established brand, it's a super priority thing. Use your C-level leadership and founders leadership strategically to strengthen that link between the expertise of real human behind the brand and what the brand does. So founder-led visibility will become the great thing. And for newer brands, my prediction is that will be probably the only thing that will speed up the process of getting new brands recommended in LLMs. So that completes the 7 predictions, and let me quickly reiterate them. So prediction number 1, 3 internets. What do we do about this? We optimize for agents now. Prediction number 2, AI blocks will take over the whole real estate of the search results. What do? We need to be there. So let's take care of the content format, and topics and shapes and sizes that are suitable for AI agents, so that we can take that space in the form maybe not clickable, but still visible in this AI answers generated space. Prediction number 3, shortlisting. Let's make sure that we have our brand and product coverage in the highly visible places available for LLMs, and let's take care of slightly less visible and slightly less obvious forms of content, especially if we are in the B2B SaaS space. Help section, support section, documentation, product data. If we are in the manufacturer space, that's going to be product sheets, catalogs, everything related to clean and structured, well represented, indexable and accessible data for AI agents. Thus, we are laying a very strong foundation for them to recommend us better and in the right way. Prediction number 3, fragmentation and lack of measurement. Consistency. We need to make sure that we have the consistent story everywhere, and we must invest into that story both on our website and on external sources. Prediction number 5, zero click. And what to do about it? Manage the expectations of your leadership team and yourself about the traffic and how it impacts the pipeline and the user journey. We will see less hits to the website, not meaning that we will see less exposure for the brands. Number 6, hacking and fooling the models. Consistency of the brand messages again. Let's make sure that we outpower the potential misbranding or brand attacks by very consistent stories and all the outlets and all the assets available to us. It will be much harder to hijack the whole thing if and when you have that story consistent everywhere. And new brands and struggle with visibility. Take the advantage of the C-level personal brands. If you don't have one, start building one now, because that's how you strengthen the narrative, and this is how you strengthen the perception and the link between the founder's expertise, the real human, and the brand, the product, and the services that we provide, that you provide. So I encourage you to take the first step or next step in your AI visibility journey. If things that I'm telling you are resonating, if you have further questions, if you'd like to discuss your particular situation with me and my team, feel free to hit the link. I'll you still have it in the chat. Thank you so much for that. And I encourage you to get in touch with us, sit down with us. I am more than willing to take a look at your brand strategy and bring more insights and bring more predictions that can help you shape up your AI visibility roadmap in 2026. That's the main part of the predictions thing that I have to share with you today. And just to reiterate, we have the 3 internets. We have the AI answers occupying the whole thing, shortlisting, fragmented buyer journey, zero click, fooling the models, and new brand struggle. Give me a number in the chat for the one that resonated with you most. Number 6. Thank you, Mel. 6 and 7. Michelle, thank you so much. Mine is this as well. And yeah, 3 and 6. Thanks, Claire. Thank you. Again, in 6 months from now, it will be interesting to see where we will end up, or where we will continue with the whole AI visibility thing. But for now, this is probably the most vulnerable area for all of the brands and for all of us to watch out for. So AI is a super powerful tool. Still, Michelle, I'm with you. It's quite scary sometimes what it can and cannot do. So with those predictions and with that kind of like things in mind, my biggest hot take from everything, and I've been thinking about the whole thing a lot, is that we need to be very diligent in how we tell our stories. And a few things that are now resonating most in terms of the content formats and how to keep the story consistent. Surprisingly, they go back to the roots of certain formats that were quite popular maybe 6 or 7 years ago. I talked to a brand recently who are at the stage of inventing their own category. This is very similar to the use case of a new brand, but even harder for LLMs to understand that because they have very little background or zero background in their training data about the new category that that brand is building. And when I was listening to why and how the marketing team goes about it, I understood that we will be facing this challenge over and over. There will always be something new. So apart from fooling LLMs, the next big challenge that I can see in marketing is educating them about the new things in an appropriate way. Probably this is way outside the scope of what we can do on the marketing side, but my biggest takeaway from this is that everything that we do in content needs to be super consistent, and we need to explain to LLMs who we are, what we do, in the formats that are highly accessible to them. Getting back to my point about the content formats, glossaries. That's what we talked about in that particular call. Like, hey, you're inventing a new category. Let's explain it. Let's coin the terms. If you think that now the things are called XYZ, on the contrary to what traditional understanding of that particular term is, coin it. Make sure that your CEO invests, at least at the ghostwriting level, and coins it with you. Make sure that you have you're building a very strong semantical connection between that new thing, your capabilities, and your expertise, on your team's expertise. It's a little bit of a different paradigm here, and I would not recommend, not would not recommend, I do recommend having glossaries in the industries that have very narrow vertical understanding of things. But now I would transfer that technique to the new brands and especially the new categories and new things, coin the term. Or first-party research. It's a little bit tedious to build a good research paper, but every client that I'm talking to, including myself as the business owner, we do have that first-party knowledge. Now you're exposed to mine. Now I'm making those predictions my own, and I'm building content, and I'm building awareness, and I'm building my expertise around the thing by doing that first-party work. Every business, and I often hear like, hey, service businesses, they don't have any research capabilities. We do. And for the B2B SaaS, and especially scientifically loaded businesses, we have a ton of internal information that we can convert into something that we can call the first-party research-based content. And this is where LLMs come into play, because that's our leverage to get this content into the training data, to get that particular content cited in the conversations that we need most. Those researchers, those shortlistings. So I'm thinking about this as the new opportunity for us to be the bigger fishes in a bunch of smaller ponds. Probably we will not be able to dominate the whole space. And for example, in AI search, I do know that Rampiq is one of the many agencies that will be offering the services. Yes, we are like on the pioneering side, but the competition will always be there. But in terms of the building the true expertise in B2B AI search, in things that our clients do, the more ponds we can identify, and the bigger we are in them, the more authority we will accumulate over time. And if we do this with the LLM within the LLM-friendly format, knowing how they work and how they think, then we do increase our chances to benefit from this new tech exponentially. So in any case, if you'd like to take this conversation of the webinar format, and if you'd like to pick my brain on anything, I do have a few slots open next week, so feel free to book time with me and my team. If not, I'm just one email away or one DM away on LinkedIn. Everyone here should be connected with me already. If not, feel free to do so. So I'm very open to sharing everything that I've learned so far. And for those of you who are working with me or have worked with me this year, you know how my team is passionate about everything connected to AI search. So I encourage you to book some time with us, bring up your challenges, bring up your questions, bring your roadmap. Let's sit down, take a look at your situation, and let's see how I can help. So with that, let me open the floor for questions, and feel free to unmute yourself. I know that we have a good proportion of humans and note takers on this call, but since we do have some time and I don't have a hard stop at the top of the hour, as I mentioned, feel free to ask questions in the chat. Or just unmute yourself, raise your hand, and if you have any feedback as well, feel free to share it. And while you're thinking and or maybe formulating your questions, one important note is that we have good news and bad news. And the good news is that the new models are now released more and more often. So meaning that we have better chances to educate the models faster than before. Like a year and a half ago, I would be telling you that, hey, we will need to wait for another 6 to 8 months before the new thing is released. Now the race is picking up, meaning that now we have better chances for better presentations in the models. And Emil, thank you so much for this question. If you're not about producing consistent messaging that's doable by the environment becomes distorted faster than we can defend ourselves against manipulated bad signals. That's a great question, and thank you for asking that, because the way that LLMs are doing the fact checking is still quite weak. So yes, you can overload them with the amount of faulty information. And it's relatively easy to do when you know how to occupy spaces and places where they currently mostly search the real-time information. Meaning that, for example, if you have the news coverage of a certain brand within a certain context, and out of a sudden there is a negative PR campaign, like a dirty PR campaign around that particular brand, yes, chances are that LLMs will pick it up and they will blend it into the perception of that brand within the conversations. I do not know the best ways, a better way to protect brands from such manipulations than the consistent narrative for now. Why? Because from the nature of how LLMs work, there are certain weights to certain things around the brand. And if we have larger, more solid weighting stuff around the facts and figures that are true, than those which are faulty, we increase our chances those faulty figures to be ignored. Yes, they will see the negative stuff going on or something, like they will see and acknowledge that attack. But if it is very contradictory to what they know about the brand so far, we will then decrease the chances of that negative stuff being mentioned in connection with that brand. Think clustering and proximity of certain things around the brand. Let's say zebras are black and white, and out of a sudden the whole internet starts talking about zebras being red. Or like there is like a whole bunch of stories. Hey, now they always were thinking that zebra is like a black and white, but no, it's red. What would the model think? It will weight the probability of zebras to be red. It will weight what it knows about zebras so far, and yes, there is a probability that at some point it will start hallucinating, but at least it will give you like a doubt. You know what? Zebras are typically black and white. There is a news about the red zebras, but zebras are black and white. Why? Because out of the 100% of mentions or knowledge about zebras, 95 will still be black and white. And Emil, I hope that answers your question, not directly though, but since the like, how do we fool them? For newer brands, that's tricky. For older brands, the more consistent we are around our narratives, the more secure we are. And feel free to follow up with questions or anything if you'd like. Claire, do different AI models rank vendors lists differently? Yes and no. It really another trend. I didn't include it in the predictions because it's already the reality. Basically, is that the conversations are becoming very personalized. In the different models use different weights and different capabilities. That's what I know about them so far. To build that personalization. So most likely, if you take the incognito mode in or a new account on like in Gemini, in Perplexity, in the ChatGPT, and you will start asking the same prompt about the brands and comparisons, you will get different answers, but they are more likely to be closer to each other. But if you have the same, if you are up to experimenting, and you will ask the same prompt in your personalized GPT that you have been using for a while, high chances are that the answers will be very different. So in a nutshell, under the hood, most of the models still use the same, let's call it electricity, right? So the power and the mechanisms, how they operate is the same, or like the same power. But some of the power can be taken from air, some of the power can be taken from wind, some of the power can be taken from like fossil energy. So how exactly they will be delivering the results to you can vary. In other words, they still operate under the same, more or less, technological paradigm, which has its own limitations. But the mechanism between the models is more or less shared right now. That's the personalization that will be affecting the results more likely. Vlad, the questions. How to leverage your audit service for my clients and prospects? Good. Now, do you partner and work with other agencies? Let me take the first one, like really quickly. The best way to discuss it will be to book a call with me or drop me a quick email. I'm more than happy to take this off the context of that particular session. But yes, we do work with other agencies, and we have a very structured and straightforward way how we audit the AI visibility components and how we run the AI visibility program. Vlad, happy to talk to you more about it separately. In short, we have a framework for the audits, pretty straightforward, highly valuable. And yes, we do have the partnership program with other agencies. Thank you so much for those questions. I really do appreciate them. That's super encouraging to me and my team. Michelle, I work with a lot of small brands who are not necessarily AI aware and have no idea where to start. They also have extremely limited budgets. What do you think they are the most impactful things a small brand can do to help increase their visibility? $1 million question. Newer brands, right? So the prediction number 7. What can they do? I recently answered that question a few times, so I have a ready answer for you. For smaller brands, it's the same for bigger brands, but the scale is different. For smaller brands, we have the 3 key areas where a lot of things can be done in-house or in a very controlled manner by a very small team, or even by the founder or business owner themselves. First of all, the technical foundation. AIs, bots are still bots. What I recommend doing is looking at the current website, even if it's just a page, right? Or like a brochure website with a few pages, no blog, no content, no resources to run the full featured content program, as it often happens with smaller brands. But we still have that website as the official source of information, and it means that we can implement LLM-TXT, we can implement schema.org, we can implement the official FAQ, we can implement those content elements which are not a heavy lifting, not a full-featured content program, but are very essential for LLMs to understand what the brand is about, who is behind them, what are the connections between that particular brand and the team behind it, what are their expertise, and how they work together. So you can tighten up those things with a relatively small effort on your side or on the brand's side. That's number one. Then and of course, the technical aspect of it, I highly recommend to still run that, at least the basic SEO audit, to make sure that that content is available, accessible for LLM bots and for Google bots, that we don't have that obstacles that prevent that content to be visible. The second pillar is the consistent narrative in the places that we fully control, meaning LinkedIn page, X account, Facebook page, Instagram, everything that the business uses. Make sure that the positioning is the same. We have brand name, founder, key services, key products, everything consistent. We talked about it a little bit earlier today, where that consistency, this is what tells LLMs what the brand is about and how to perceive it, how to rank it. And the third thing that I highly recommend to invest into, if we have some any sort of extra resources, personal brands of founders. Podcasts, at least monthly newsletter on LinkedIn, at least some appearances where they clearly communicate that connection between the founder and the brand name. Again, why? LLMs cluster and cite and recommend differently. It's not about just the frequency of citations or frequency of links or frequency of publications, which are a little bit hard to maintain for SMBs, but it's more about the consistent narrative. They will find that content. So let's make sure that they find the same coherent, consistent story about the brand strengths and capabilities. And Michelle, I hope that answers your question. Happy to elaborate more if you have follow-up questions. Claire, would LLMs FAQ schema rank as more important for AI bots than PR hits? I would treat it as the two different things, though. For many brands, and that's to Michelle's question, PR is way too expensive. So the outside world of PR publications or getting the mentions at scale can be very difficult for too many brands. However, the LLM-TXT, FAQ, schemas, everything that you can do for your own content, and this is typically in your control zone. So if you're talking about the bigger brands with larger budgets, I'd highly recommend the full-featured PR program, because if we have the competition in that segment at the very high level and everybody else is doing that PR layer and your brand doesn't, this is where you'll start missing out. So on the on-page side, things that you can control for your brand, FAQ schemas, and so do 120% out of 100%. We need to make sure that we tightened up everything and we did look into everything that's in our full control. That's relevant for both bigger and small brands. But in terms of the PR signal, in my current understanding how LLM source the information, if you are not mentioned in certain context, but other brands are, this is where you will be missing out. Because they will look at, and let's say, this is kind of like the cell phones trademarks, right? And let's say we are launching something new. The most popular things, see newer brands, right, are probably like our new cell phones manufacturer. Now will be in disadvantage for LLM so far, unless they do that huge PR launch campaign and they will start getting their names, start placing their names in close proximity with iPhone, Pixel, and other phone-related contexts, if that makes sense. So those are like it really depends on the size of the business and the context of the situation and the goals. But I do encourage us to do everything that's in our control for on page. But for off page, if we can get our new brand in close proximity to the key players in the market, or at least like around the problems that we solve, the services, the features, that would be the best next step in off page activities for now. Awesome.